Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Look at Babel Rising. It is I, Michael Fox, or Foxman, or Fox, or Mike. Call me whatever you want. Babel Rising, it's a game developed by Ubisoft, or Ubisoft, however you want to pronounce it. I don't know how it is, and I'm not going to debate it any further in my life. Anyways, it's not a AAA title like we've been seeing a lot of footage from them. It's kind of a smaller, more almost on the indie level. I mean, obviously they're not an indie developer, but it's kind of the quality I guess you would expect from a high-end indie studio. So anyways, we're gonna get right into it. Looking here on the main screen, there's 3 different modes of play. We've got survival, which is pretty standard fare for a lot of video games, particularly one of this type. It seems very fitting once you see the gameplay anyways. And the point is to survive as long as you can. So the longer you survive, the more points you get, bragging rights, all that good stuff. Campaign, that's the main meat of the game. There are 15 missions, and they're kind of bland. Well, I'll show you. Proof is in the pudding, but yeah. And then of course there's multiplayer. So being that I'm playing the 360 version, you can hop on Xbox Live, play with friends if they have it. It's available on other consoles as well. And so you know, Babel Rising originally was on the iPhone, 2D graphics and stuff like that. They ported it over, but it's not just a simple port, obviously. It's all 3D graphics. Actually, visually, looks pretty good. And it also has motion controls. I'm not testing those out today, but we're going to go ahead and start the campaign. I've done a couple missions. We'll start with the very first one, just so you guys get an idea of how the game works. And, yeah, we'll do that. So here we have Foundations. This is the first mission. And the objective is to kill 75 workers. Very easy task once we get into it. So Babylon has built a gigantic foundation in the middle of the city. The pride of these men doesn't bode well. So the point of the game is that we are a god. We're a god. We have control over these 4 different elements in the game, and we use them to basically keep all these Babylonians at bay. We don't want them to build this tower because, well, they're trying to reach the high heavens and all that crap, and they've got their own agenda, and obviously that doesn't fit with ours. Us being a god, we want them to obey us, not to come and hang out with us in the heavens. So we're gonna kill them. We're gonna prevent them from even getting to heaven. So how do we do that? We stop them from building this tower. Easier said than done. For the first while, the game obviously holds your hand a little bit, gets you used to things, and then it starts to ramp up a little bit. So there's that. But really, the gameplay mechanics, as we will see throughout this video, very simple, very easy to understand, and they get pretty repetitive and bland. To be honest, I am not a huge fan of them. I'm actually ignoring all these tips because I've played this quite a bit. I did the survival mode for a while, just to get a hang of the game. I stood in there for 35 minutes. And you think, oh, 35 minutes isn't a long time to play a game. It's a fucking millennia in this game. Trust me when I say that. After a while, you just kind of desensitized to everything. And I can't... There we go. Yeah, you just kind of get in the mode of not feeling anything in life when playing this game. So here, let me explain what we're doing here. This is a special attack. And to understand the special attack, this is kind of like an ultimate punishment, almost a Armageddon apocalyptic scale type of skill I just did there. And we have to work our way up to that. So, like I mentioned earlier, there are 4 elements in the game. Right now, they're only giving us access to 1, and this is the earth element. And with each element, you have 3 different skills. There are kind of 2 primary skills that you have available. One, which I'm using right now, is kind of just to bombard, just a one-shot deal. So you can kill individual Babylonians, right? This other skill I'm going to show you right here is, well, I beat the level, great. It's kind of a prolonged attack that you can attack multiple Babylonians at one time, so a little more powerful. And of course, his skills require mana, or mana, however you pronounce it. Let's, sorry, go to the next level. Yeah, we'll do Fire and Brimstone. This one, we have to withstand 20 waves of workers, a little more intense, but essentially it should be similar gameplay. Skills require mana to regenerate, so you have to think about that when you're going through these levels, right? You're going to be facing waves, more and more guys, Babylonians, and at some point you're going to be like, oh shit, I'm out of mana, I can't attack them, and of course that means they get to progress further towards building this tower. You'll see they move in a circular, or like a corkscrew motion. They'll move up and up and up. If I just let them build this, I'll let them build a tiny bit because, hey, you know, I'm one of those kind of mischievous gods, or, you know, I'm deceiving. I'm letting them think that they're gonna come hang out with me, but they're not. So you see they build the tower up in this direction, and it'll just keep spiraling up and up and up. So I'm gonna stop them now, though, because we don't want them to get too far ahead, because then it's just hard to gain ground back. That's the one thing about this game. Well, not one thing, there's a few things, but one of the elements of strategy is to basically prevent these guys from even getting on the tower. If you can kill them way back here, that's ideal. You won't do it. I mean, you might have a couple moments of peace where you can do that, but they'll catch up to you. Again, because the mana has to regenerate, and that it's dependent on the skills. So these one-shot deals, quicker to regenerate. You can see in the top left are our skills. So the two green are the earth ones, and the two red, we have a new element. It's the fire, I guess. That's why the level's called Fire and Brimstone. So same thing, we've got the one-shot kind of meteorite here, and I've got this little wall of flame, as they call it. And it's the same as the rocks that jut up. It's just a prolonged effect, and it'll impact a few of these Babylonians that get in the way. So that's kind of nice. It kind of gives you a little bit of a breather. But again, that takes these walls take more time to regenerate. And then, of course, as I showed you very early on, if you look in the bottom left of the screen, we've got two boxes. One's green, one is red. And those correspond to the skills, the elements we have above. So when that green box, the outline you see is a brighter green, and the red is a brighter red. When those are fully colored in, then that means we've fully unlocked our ultimate kind of punishment for each skill. So the fire will be basically what, you know, a bunch of meteors raining from the sky, apocalyptic style. Same thing with the rock, the earth. So I gotta pay attention to my skills. I'm not doing a good job of that and letting these guys get ahead. We're getting close. We're on, well, I shouldn't say close, we're almost halfway there. Wave 8 of 20. And this is really, again, it's a teaser. They're walking us through the game a little bit slowly, just so we kind of get used to the pacing, get used to the controls, but it's very simple. Essentially, you've seen all the gameplay mechanics, save for one more element coming up, and I don't mean element as in the magical elements, I mean elements of the gameplay, features, I don't know what we're calling it. But, and that is resistance. You'll see that in the next mission. Besides these, we have these regular Babylonians, right? They're kind of just the worker bee type guys. They do the shit, but they don't really have any special powers. But there are priests, and the priests are the ones that are leading this revolt against me, the Foxman god. And they have special powers where they resist certain elements. Different priests have different. Each priest will have one type of resistance, I should say. They all have a resistance, but they'll resist fire or earth or the other elements. So we'll see that in the next level. And after that, that's pretty much the whole kit and caboodle. That's the whole game. So it's kind of hard to talk about it. Other than the mechanics, it looks it's a pretty decent looking game. I kind of like this somewhat cell shading esque styles. It's very soft and easy on the eyes, and it looks good. But that's a cover up, really. This is the same kind of mechanic you'd find in any kind of free arcade game, for crying out loud, on the internet. It's not earth shattering. It's not original. It's not breaking any sort of mold. They just slapped on a story and a bit of money behind it, so they could say, hey, yeah, same mechanics, but it looks cool. You know, that's marketing for you, right? You've got to spin things a little bit to get people thinking in different ways. So it doesn't work on me though. I'm immune to advertising. I've watched enough Mad Men. I know what it's like. All right. Okay, we're getting really close. Wave 15. Boom shakalaka, boom shakalaka. Have some fire, wall of flame, or whatever the fuck they call it. It's pretty good. I mentioned earlier too, this has motion controls, being that it's on 360. It has the Kinect support, and it also has PlayStation Move support. I don't know how those fare. You can go into the controls, and they show you how to use your hands to do the different attacks, different gestures. But honestly, when I was going through it originally, I was like, shit, son, I do not want to try and play this game. You think kind of theoretically, like, it's like, oh yeah, it makes you feel more like a god, right? That's the intent of this game. You're a god, and you know, gods don't use controllers. They just use their brains and their hands and make crazy gestures. But I just don't foresee myself standing in front of a camera for hours on end playing such a simple game, doing the same gestures over and over. It'd be one thing if you're fucking waving a sword around or some shit, but really, I'm just pressing a button on these, well, 2 buttons on these controllers, wiggling my little joystick around like it's a dinky dink, and that's pretty much it. Again, not a very in-depth game. So I think mostly it's kind of they saw the success of the iPhone version. But that's an issue, and Ryan and I on our Saving Progress podcast have talked about that before, is that certain games are just, you know, they initially build them for a mobile device, iPhone, iPad, whatever, to Android tablets and phones and stuff, and then they are surprised at the success of them, and they say, well, let's just port this over to PC and shit now. It doesn't work as well. It's one thing if you're going from a console to PC or PC to console, because they have similar specs and control schemes. It's just they're in the same kind of category almost. Mobile devices, completely different. Really, I mean, you're comparing an iPhone to an Xbox 360 where you're using your fingers tapping on a screen, and it's a different, you don't sit, well, I shouldn't say. Right here, let me get set up with the next mission. Most people don't sit on their couch for hours on end and play their iPhone or whatever. It's kind of like a quick thing you pull it when you're on the bus or you got 5 minutes to spare, but not the same thing. So just take that into consideration. Anyways, here we actually now have the choice to select our elements. I'm not exactly sure why they present us with this screen, because we haven't unlocked water and wind yet for whatever reason. At least not in the campaign. You can use them in the survival mode. And you can only pick 2 elements. So again, we're going to have to go with fire and earth. That's about it. I guess they're just showing us that later we'll have the ability to customize our godly powers at some point. But that kind of pisses me off, because Foxman, Foxman God, whatever we're calling him, you know, Foxman is a god. There's no doubt about that. He's the god of everything. Okay? So we've got to defeat 40 priests here, just so you know, in case you're not really paying too much attention. But Foxman's god of everything. He wakes up in the morning, smells some coffee, couple roses, scratches his ass, and then he's like, shit. I'm gonna be, what am I gonna be the god of today? I'm the god of pain, or I'm the god of sorrow, I'm the god of misery, I'm the god of babes, I'm the god of money, or wealth, or whatever fancy word you want to use. You know, but he uses all his powers to do this shit. You know, he's not gonna be like, oh, I'm only gonna use 2 powers today. It's fucking God. Omnipotent. Like, come on. Omnipresent. Just, he's everywhere. All-seeing, all-knowing. It's fucking awesome. So that's, you know, I kind of wish we could use all 4 elements at the same time, but one, it might get a little too hectic for them, and 2, it would be, I'm thinking they're thinking about Kinect support and that in general, having too many gestures, and they want to keep it simple. So I'm thinking that's why they don't have a lot, you know, able to use all 4 elements at once, and they just keep it to 2. Not sure if I agree with that. I understand why they did it, but hey, you know, if you're gonna make a game, you might as well take it the whole 9 yards. Am I right, or am I right? So we've killed 1 priest, and you see this little red orby, aura, whatever the fuck you want to call it. That's his resistance. That color coordinates to our elements. So a red globe dome around him, that means he's resistant. That priest is resistant to fire, and the resistance works on those in his immediate surroundings. So if he's resistant to fire, you want to use anything but fire. And you can see this guy, he's got the green globe around him, so we're going to use fire on this fucker. Alright, actually let's get a trail of some shit going on here. This guy doesn't like rocks, so there you go. Drop some rocks. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. These guys don't have any resistances because there ain't no priests around to save them. Or these guys. Yeah, look at that wall of flame. These idiots. Now I'm kind of catching up. But the game does ramp up quite a bit. Like I said, I spent 35 minutes in the game in survival, and they just come in by the boatloads. Literally, they have these little segments where they're coming in on boats, and you have to destroy the boats. Alright, yeah, he's resistant to that shit. And you have to destroy as many boats, and determining, you know, how many boats you destroy means how many waves, essentially, there are. So, that's just another kind of element, but really the same shit, different day. And that's pretty much it. You've seen all the gameplay now. Other than just picking up the pace a little bit. And the other 2 elements being wind and water. But it's just a repackaging, right? You look at this, these rocks. Well, this skill is called Crush. It's just like a rock falling from the sky, right? That's Earth. The meteor, same fucking shit. It's just on fire, you know. Anyways, oh, I've got these special skills, so I'll show you her super punishments. And they have a modifier, so you basically have a spasm on the right trigger as soon as you launch these super skills, and it's a modifier to increase the damage of that. So I've also got flames coming up. Here we go. So I'll do the flame special attack. You just hold the trigger, and then more spasming. They're not plus 90% damage. Just Armageddon, you know. But this guy, he's got a resistance. Fucker's just walking on by like no big deal. But now he's dead because I just threw a puny little rock. Crush him. Good song by Megadeth. I love Megadeth. Crush them all. Kill them all. Metallica, you know, that's a little kind of rivalry of sorts. You know, Dave Mustaine was kicked out of Metallica. You know, that's one of those things. It's like the invention of the telephone. Guy spills some kind of liquid all over. He's like, oh fuck, I fucked it all up. And he's like, oh shit, I just invented the telephone. Well, them Metallica kicking Dave out and him forming Megadeth. Oh shit. To me, Megadeth is superior. You know, I don't mind Metallica. They got some good songs, but really, I'll take Megadeth any day of the week. This shit is tight. Better guitar, better drums, better vocals. It's hard, you know, different styles. But Dave can sing. I like his voice. They got good lyrics too. Anyways, look what's going on. I'm so bored with this game. I'm talking about music, completely unrelated to the game, mostly other than the I don't even know what I'm saying. Oh yeah, crushing and killing, blah blah blah. So I think I'm actually gonna call it quits, guys, because I'm getting bored out of my fucking skull playing this game, and you've seen essentially everything other than, you know, you can go and play this multiplayer with your friends if you want. Probably don't want to do that though, because it sucks. And the different elements, but again, those are repackaging. So same thing with water and wind. It's just like, fuck me. I'm gonna give it a thumbs down just because I'm not enjoying it. I don't know, and it's not the same. Being a god, you think it'd be all fun and games and cool, but really it's kind of boring. You just gotta kill people. It's not even a challenge right now, so maybe you want to check it out. You can get it for $10 on consoles, a whole slew of things. Just, you know, check the video description for that kind of information. And yeah, anyways, I'm gonna exit. Yes, and that's gonna be it. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.